Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and today we're going to be covering kind of part 1 of the 10-year anniversary title update. So, this update came out, and it's crazy. I mean, we're going to scroll to the top here, and I just want to point out something that is absolutely ludicrous, right? So if we go up to the top, it is a 25-minute read. A 25-minute read, and they're not lying on that either. Like, it is an intensive 25-minute long read. Normally, I'm on the side of, hey, Meathead, can we maybe put out one post, because all of these are connected together, and I feel like I have to go back and forth. This time, I feel like I'm sitting here saying, could we have made this 2, 3, or 4 posts? Because while some of it is connected, some of it is not. There's a lot of stuff going on here, and we're going to cover one part of this, and we're not going to go in order of the post. We're going to start down towards the bottom where they talk about the Relic economy changes. I want to cover those first, and then we'll kind of cover in other videos some of the other things going on here, because I think the Relic economy is what a lot of us have been really curious about. There's some very good news here. There's some not so good news here. There's some, what the hell, that's not kind of what you were in, the way you phrased it. So we'll get to all of that. First and foremost, let's thank the channel members for all their continued support. If you guys are ever interested, link below, along with link to Discord, guys. Really just appreciate everybody keeping the faith, believing through good, bad, thick, thin, whatever the hell it is. Appreciate it, guys. Let's get in here and let's talk about this massive update and how the Relic economy will impact you. Alright, so we're going to be reading from the forum post here, so we're in the Relic economy changes. So they talk about a lot of different stuff here. Again, I say in a lot of times, there's a lot of words here that feel free to read at your leisure. I am going to pick out what I feel is important and phrase it for you that way. So the biggest thing is they say here, the first big thing they really talk about is we're going to alleviate some pressure on Relic materials for Relic 9. We're removing fragmented signal data, which is the white signal data, chromium transistors, and erodium heat sinks from the Relic 9 recipe. None of those really help alleviate the Relic 9 problem, because none of those are a problem for Relic 9. The blue signal data, the, arrow magnifiers, impulse detectors, Gerda keypads, droid brains, those are all of our issues. These pieces are not, these things are not. There is some cascading effect here. This is potentially less time that you'll need to spend farming white signal data to be used for Relic 9, or it will free up the signal data you're farming to be used in other situations, which we'll talk about here in a second. The other thing that is happening with the Relic economy update that they're not mentioning here, and this is why I am going to scroll up, and we'll kind of do this in our other videos at times, is when we need to reference another part, we'll go up. They're changing the way that you progress characters inside of these eras. So they're moving closer to eras. There's going to be a different progression system for characters inside of their era than when they exist outside of it. So right now, if you think about the current era of piracy that we're in, right? So if we go into the game here, you think characters like Quiggold and Kix and all of these guys, they use the exact same materials as Baze Malbus, Bodhi Rook, Night Sister Spirit, so it's a lot harder to balance your gear. This new change with these characters, what it's actually going to do is you're gonna level them up with other resources that are given you through the era. And then when the era is over, they will be converted to different levels based on where they were inside of that era. And again, they give you some examples. I don't know if those are final or not, but basically the further you have that character in the era, the more you're going to get out of them when they turn into a legacy unit. And then from there, you will use the legacy gear, relics, and other things to upgrade them. So that's another part of the Relic economy change that isn't really covered in the Relic economy section, but is important. the further you can progress characters in these Relic, in these eras, the less legacy relics you'll need to spend on them, and the more you'll be able to spend on older characters. So, again, and they do talk about that here, but I wanted to go back up to the real example of where that shows. They are increasing the Relic material inflows. Relic 1 through 5 materials and Relic and Tier 1 through 3 signal data will be replacing existing Galactic Challenge salvage boxes on the free episode track milestone. That's a huge deal. That's really, really nice. Players engaging daily in eras will still be able to complete the episode track, and we expect most players to be able to earn these resources monthly. On top of that, we are updating episode shipments to include items like signal data, fragmented and incomplete, so players can use their extra episode currency to boost their relic farms. That's also really, really nice. So that, and again, that's gonna get stuff on both the episode pass and pass plus. I believe they said that down here. Yes, they say it down here. This adds more value to the episode track and pass plus, while the price will remain the same. So no increase to the price, but you are getting a little bit of higher rewards. With that, they are adding, we did know this was coming, that they're adding arrow magnifiers and droid brains to the Scavenger. The big thing to pay attention to, you see these 270, 450 points, ignore those. You want to look at these 9. That's the salvage. That's what you would or wouldn't be, scrapping. So it's 245 points for a droid brain, and it is 175 for arrow magnifiers. If you kind of look at it this way, that's roughly 20 of these pieces to get a, it's about 20 of these pieces to get a single arrow magnifier, which are Kyrotech. So you look at the Kyrotech, so that's a big shout for arrow magnifiers. So you think all those extra Kyrotech we've built up over the years, for those of us who don't really need it now, or you think about, the Poverty Patrol assault battle we were talking about the other day, you're now going to be able to get, that 9 points for those Kyrotech. So you figure when you go do Zepho, you're going to get, if you think I'm going to struggle with the math here, so you're going to get 100 for Zepho and Mandalore. It's what, like 140 Kyrotech per TB, multiply by 9 points and divide it by 175. That's like 7 arrow magnifiers per TB for getting those. So you're going to get a significant amount of arrow magnifiers from those pieces. Similarly, the same pieces will be used for droid brains. Obviously, more points to create a droid brain. What I'm looking at here, when I read this, it's the same pieces that they're using. Right? It's the exact same pieces they're using here. There's no difference in the pieces. You need 2 arrow magnifiers for every single droid brain. So when I look at this and I think about the relic economy changes and I look at how it feels, my gut assumption will be you'll want to get as many of your arrow magnifiers from raid rewards as possible and focus on scrapping droid brains for your Kyrotech. That's going to be your path. I think that will be the smarter solution, simply because using your Kyrotech more, you're going to be more efficient using Kyrotech for droid brains than the arrow magnifiers. Now, maybe that changes if you're significantly behind on arrow magnifiers and you need to do it and just bite the bullet. But I kind of look at it as I need double the amount of arrow magnifiers as I do droid brains, so I don't want to be spending something to get arrow magnifiers when it's not 50% cheaper than droid brains. Now, so that is all. By the way, this is huge. Those are very good changes. That's good stuff. The new signal data recipe. So again, they talked about releasing a new signal data to interact with Relic 10, which is going to come in other things. you use the existing signal data to build this corrupted signal data. So what they said is that they were going to release this new signal data and it wasn't going to impact your farm of the current signal data. That's a massive... Agnar's brought it up tonight when I was on with Club 38. Like, that's a massive lie. That's a huge lie. This is 100% impacting my farm of current signal data, because now instead of using that current signal data on characters in my roster, I need to use it to scrap to get this corrupted signal data. Even if it's in other game modes, I don't like that the way they phrased it was it will be in the Scavenger, because of the assumption was, okay, I'll be able to use some gear. This is going to create a worse bottleneck for signal data because of being able to use it for this corrupted stuff. So I don't like that. Like I said, they are going to make some things easier of getting signal data, and you think about the era system, you might not have to equip as much signal data on those characters if you progress them along in the era system, got them to a certain level. But I still don't like this change. I think that was a very misleading and poorly worded phrase that I think CG really kind of dropped the ball on that one for us. Now, the next two things are some big changes. Electrum conductors and Zimbalist cards are moving from Mark III raid tokens to Mark II. That is really, really nice. And Carbonite circuit boards, Bronzium wiring are all moving to Mark I. Again, I don't think any of that is really too crazy for me. I use my Mark I for credits anyways, but if you're somebody who was using your Mark II on those resources, then this is a really good switch for you. Going to give you access to relics a lot faster than you were before. So I like that a lot. I think that's a positive change for the game, and it's something that I, definitely look forward to on that regard. Next, they are talking about the relic change. So you remember when you can get to relics below 7-star, they basically said, hey, now at relic 4, you can go to 5 stars. At relic 5, you need 6 stars. So they basically upped it a little bit. I think that's really big for the raid, and for some Galactic Legend farms, that is also really, really significant as well. Again, there's the token yawn. Relic 6 will be locked behind 7 stars. So, to go to Relic 6 and beyond, you'll still need to be 7 stars. So next, they cover Relic Delta. And again, we kind of knew these modifiers already, so I don't think any of this is super new. But again, you guys can see that it's, we'll scroll in a little bit here just to kind of call it to light. So a 5, 10, 33, 70, and 150, and then 5, 10, 25, 40, and 60 the other direction. So again, those top levels are going to hurt. The 5 and 10%, I'm not sure how crazy impactful that will be. The reports I've gotten back from people inside of the testing is you're not going to notice the 5 and 10 as much. So let's go back out here so I can keep that at the right. Yeah, there we go. Actually, that's way too small. What am I doing here, Phil? There we go. That's better. So next, again, we kind of covered this already. They talked about the episode track change to basically add signal data in some of those relic materials. That's a solid shift in the game. I like that a lot. They talk about changing some of the Galactic Challenge to go to Era Challenges, which is a change. All that stuff, listen, don't worry about it. It's all going to be fine. The last point I wanted to talk about in this relic economy change is the Lightspeed tokens. So with these Lightspeed tokens, right, what you're getting is sorry, I'm trying to get this the right way. So you're getting additional levels. Basically, they looked at this and said, yeah, we kind of messed up with these. They're not as impactful as we wanted. So now the Carbonite tier is what we used to have with the Bronzium tier. Bronzium tier is what the Chromium would be. Chromium is what the Erodium was. Erodium is what the Kyber was. And Kyber is adding a level going to ability level 7 and Relic 6. So they basically upped it. Listen, I'm not going to lie. This is a pretty significant boost because when you think about, if you go to the game here, if you think about the episode track, right now, I currently get characters going to Gear 12 and a Relic 1. Now that will be a Relic 1 and Relic 3 character. So that does feel a lot better. Oh, excuse me. I do think that feels a lot better. I feel that feels a lot more commensurate to the level of effort going into the game. So I like, again, those are solid changes for those Lightspeed tokens, because they definitely, the first couple of tiers did just feel really, really bad comparative to the other ones. So I'm glad that they're making this shift now, making it kind of early, recognizing that, hey, this is probably not the right level that we should have these at. So when I look at these changes and I look at the Relic economy stuff, like I said, I think there's some good, I think there's some bad. The bad being, again, I think number one, the change to Relic 9 really isn't that significant, right? That's not moving the needle for a lot of players. Adding Relic materials to the episode track is huge. That's really, really good. Allowing us to scrap for Droid Brains or Aero Magnifiers, both of these are great decisions. Much more impactful on the Droid Brains than Aero Magnifiers, in my personal opinion. The new signal data is a bit of a negative change for me. I don't like this at all. The changes to the Scavenger or the raid shipments, that's massive, right? That's really, really big. And then all these other things I felt were, even Relic Delta, like, I think it's all going to be pretty good. So what this means for you moving forward, right? I think if you're a player, you're looking at this stuff now, I do think that this does change the way that you're going to want to interact with some of your gear. Now you're going to look at some of those Lightspeed tokens with a little bit of a different lens, because you want to think about some of those Lightspeed tokens that, hey, all right, maybe you could use this character, but now Kyrotech just got a whole lot more valuable. Like, I really think Kyrotech just became one of the most valuable rewards in the game, because you're going to be able to take those Kyrotech and scrap them in the shipment. And, for like, I've got, almost 3,000 of them and 4,000. I don't even farm them anymore. I'm going to tell you guys right now, there's a, discussion to be had here that the smart thing might be to go back and start farming this Mark 7 Kyrotech, salvage node, and just start scrapping them for Aero Magnifiers, scrapping them for Droid Brains. I think that may be the way to go. I honestly, this whole video should have just been me saying that Kyrotech are now the most important thing. That'll probably be what the title is. I feel that change should not be overlooked because of all the places they've added for us to get Kyrotech. And, you think about like the Poverty Patrol, you think about Zepho and Mandalore, and maybe other places where they can add it as a valuable reward. Now it feels a lot better. Now, the other thing that you see there too is that it wasn't just the salvage, but also the full pieces as well. So think about the episode track again. On that episode track, there are salvage pieces that you can get, but there's also the full pieces as well. So there, again, I really feel like they're shifting the thing to say, hey, we're going to continue to make Kyrotech something that is relevant, and we're going to do that by adding it for Relic 8 and Relic 9 materials, which I think is a thumbs up from Fat Phil. That is good stuff, and I think it will help players progress faster. So really excited with that. I think that's arguably the biggest news that came out of this, to be honest. I hope that doesn't slide under the radar. I hope I'm not spending too much time. You guys are like, hey, Phil, it doesn't matter. I think that's huge because it is a material that we're already very much, like, a lot of us were, what's the point of these things? And the fact that we can scrap them, I mean, I love it. I think I called it and said that would be a great thing for me to be able to scrap. So thank you, CG. I love you guys. I do really love this update overall. I'm excited for it. It's a great sign for the game moving forward. It's a great sign for what's to come, and a lot more stuff to continue to come along. So this is part 1 of our update. We'll continue to go through this and look through the other areas that they covered. Like, subscribe, comment. I love you all. If you're still watching right now, go in the comments right now and type in Egnards is awful at Grand Arena. Love you guys. See you in the next one. Cheers, my friends.